doing the Light Shining Our Light Sunday. You've brought pledges. If you haven't, we have blank pledge cards. We're going to bless those offerings for the work of God that goes forth from this temple. So I meant to look up this it's 1960s, I believe this was built. Award-winning design temple that, a lot of people have been baptized in that font, fed at this altar, blessed, married, buried, lives nurtured here and lived to the glory of God. And now we have this gospel reading about things falling apart, things tumbling down, disaster. And we do know the truth of that. As lovely and, we don't have gemstones, but, we love this place. And we know that it's not forever. But while it's here, we care for it and love one another. But we do know the truth of things tumbling down. Anyone been glued to the TV or the internet this week? When the current president was elected in 2016, some of us rejoiced and others of us were in despair, and one of our older members wisely said, these things come and go. We've been through difficult times in the past, found a way through, and we will now, and we will in the future, to which we can all say amen. Thanks be to God for our elders. Jesus says, don't let your attention be so riveted by current events that you forget who you serve and you forget where your true safety lies. There have been wars and famines and plagues and deportations and disasters in the past. There are right now, and there will be in the future. Don't let yourself be tugged emotionally or spiritually by these things. Don't lose your focus on trying to predict what's going to happen, or trying to stay in control of what you can't control or predict. So what do we do instead? Because the truth is, you cannot listen to the impeachment hearings and not have your blood pressure go up. The temple is falling, stone upon stone being cast down. I don't care who you're rooting for, what side of this you fall on. Whatever side of truth you fall on, it's emotionally and spiritually hard. So what do we do if we don't get tugged, if we're trying not to get tugged around or lose our focus? Well, my friends, we keep doing what God has given us to do. We do the good we can for as long as we can. We speak the truth as we are able. We witness to God's redemptive power as He gives us a voice. Because all of these things add up. It all adds up in God's kingdom, in this new heaven and this new earth that God is at work building among us even now. We give one drink of cold water at a time. We bring comfort to the poor and the wretched. We do one act of mercy or change at a time because, and these are Mary John's words, one book given, one friendship claimed, one covenant of love, one can of beans, one moment of commendation, one confession of God's presence, one moment in which another person is humanized and not objectified, one challenge to whatever maintains injustice, one declaration of evil that's hiding in plain sight, one declaration that every person is a child of God. These acts, these one moment acts, all accumulate within God's grace. So take heart, keep the faith, endure. Take the opportunities, whatever opportunities you have, to tell the stories about God, what God is able to do through His people, who by God's grace are going to keep shining the light of hope and faith and truth and justice as long as God gives us the ability to do that. Yesterday, I was with a group of people planting live oaks in Veterans Park. We just listened to Dr. Matthew Sleeth, who was an atheist turned evangelical Christian, he's a doctor, a medical doctor, but he talks about what trees, his focus is on trees and climate change and the environment, particularly on Christians caring for the environment. So when I heard that he was going to be in town, I, pulled on my clothes and went to hear him, because that's what we're about here. Just what we've spent all of October in, developing the Feast of St. Francis. So I went to hear him. He talks about what trees teach us about the nature of God and God's love for us, and what trees can do to heal the earth from the worst effects of climate change. So we listened to this man shine the light of the gospel of Christ that is manifested in trees, and then we went out and planted live oaks. Shining the light. Our Sunday school organized a project, just this last month, of going through our closets and our storage areas to see what we actually have stored. And it turns out we have bins and bins of crayons and markers and scissors, far more than we can ever use. So they curated all of these items and organized them in bags. And Bob and Peg Evans took them to our sister church in San Pablo de Apostol in Seaside. The children that we mentored there were thrilled to get these bags of crayons and markers that were all organized. And so we're going to hear a little bit about that at the end of the service today. God gives us, God shines light in big ways and small ways. He gives us the ability to dream big and small, to plan big and small, to organize, to step out of our comfort place and shine the light, to do what we can do with what we have, and not to worry so much about whether what the temple is doing, whether it's coming down all around us or not. Because when we shine the light of Christ bright with faith that is greater than fear, then the truth is you begin to see evidence of this new heaven and this new earth that God is creating, even as we also see the stones of the old empire crumbling. One of our young people has become a spokesperson for mental health, speaking up and shining the light for other young people who may be struggling with depression and anxiety. Good Shepherd, he says, Good Shepherd is one of the places where he received the encouragement and the courage to do this. We shine the light for each other. Many of you joined small groups, right, that met for dinner and discussion based around these awesome sermons. You ate good food, you shared beverages, and you made new friends, you deepened your faith and trust and connections in God's church, in this church. So these small groups are going to start shining their light again in January, and let me know if you want to be a part of it. We shine the light for homeless and for children, and they shine it back to us. So when you're cooking in the kitchen at First United Methodist and serving the people who go through the line, does their smile shine the light back at you? Right? Those of you who mentor kids, they shine light back at you? Anybody who mentors kids, do they shine the light back at you? I see heads nodding. Because, the thing about light is it's not a one-way thing, right? I mean, light goes out in all directions, every which way. And we can, if we have the eyes to see and our hearts open, we can encounter the light of Christ in pretty much every place, anywhere you are, in surprising people and places and ways. Just open your eyes and there's the light of Christ shining out, ready to bless you. Now, a percentage of our budget every year goes to places far away. And it helps Christians in those far away places shine light. For instance, we have sent money every year for several years to help support St. Paul's Episcopal Parish in Montois, Haiti, to help them pay salaries for the teachers there. They run a parish school, and it serves, I think, around 200 children. Is that about right, Tim? Boy, talk about a place where the temple has fallen. I mean, there is disaster around every corner. Haiti has been a troubled and a very poor nation for a long time, but the situation has truly become just desperate recently. The current priest in charge of this parish that we are helping out is, I'm not going to say his name right, but Father Jean Ventinelli. Right? I have a French speaker here. Well, he and his wife just had a baby. It's a miracle baby because, when that baby was due, the hospitals were closed, the roads were closed, and that baby was born healthy and well. And just a couple weeks ago, we had a rose on our altar in Thanksgiving for Father Jean's baby and his wife's baby. So we just got a letter from him this past week, and he speaks French. His translation to English was a bit rough in the letter, so I'm going to smooth it out a bit. So we are very privileged. We know that, right? We know that we're privileged. But when you have a relationship with somebody in another country that is undergoing true distress, you get a picture of just really how amazingly blessed we are. Here's his letter. Morally, he says, morally, I'm not good. Now, I don't think he means his morals are not good. I think he means his spirit, morale, we're not good. But thanks to God, my wife and my child are well. There's a very chaotic situation in the parish. And because of that chaos, he forgot to let us know that he had actually received the money that we sent down there. We sent them $1,000 to help pay for their salaries. And before the end of the year, we'll be sending another $1,000 to help pay these teachers. He says, all my faithful are devastated because of the heavily armed gangs that have landed in our area. They have burned people's homes, looted their homes, and are even looking to draw people's lives. Now, I assume that means draw the life out of them or kill them. So there are more than 100 people who came to hide in the church campus with both empty hands without eating, but without much. It is serious. The situation here is serious. It is sad in the life of my congregation. There are 2 Sundays that cannot celebrate the Mass because all the churches of the area have closed their doors. The faithful cannot take the road to come to church. Only God, in His love and mercy, can help us out in this very chaotic situation. Therefore, we greatly need your prayers. Our Reverend Jean-Marc Ventinel, priest in charge of the parish of St. Paul, Montois. They are on our prayer list. I invite you, please, to pray for these faithful Christians who are part of our Episcopal Church USA, actually. They are part of our organization. Sometimes there is only a little light because there's so much darkness. But we are promised that there will always be light. There will always be light. The darkness has never and will never put it out. So where is that shining light in places like St. Paul's Parish in Montois, Haiti? Well, that light is shining through the honesty and the commitment of people like Reverend Jean-Marc and the teachers who are sometimes not paid for months and yet continue to find ways to shine that light out in the lives of their students. It shines in the ways that people come to the church, gather in the courtyard, and share the very little that they do have. It shines in the courage that it takes to just keep getting up in the morning and find a way to get your children something to eat that day. The light shines. It does shine. Now we, of course, don't face anything remotely like this. We can't even really get our heads around it. But we do face other challenges. There are other kinds of darkness that affect us. Darknesses that have more to do with counterfeit gods like money, sex, and power. The Trinity. Darkness that has more to do with the growing numbers of people that really don't even care about what we do here. Don't really even care about God or higher power or anything. That's the kind of darkness that we're in. But the light continues to shine. It shines among us in the ways that God lays it on our hearts, to share what we have. The offerings of our pledges, part of which is shared with St. Paul and the teachers. It shines in the prayers we offer, the crayons we, organize, and other creative ways we find to share what we have, our time and our skills, the stories of encouragement and hope that we offer. So, none of it is huge. It doesn't look like a lot. But in God's economy, in God's household, in God's building up of this new heaven and this new earth, everything we do counts. He uses it, transforms it, and makes it far, far greater than we could ever ask or imagine. So keep up the hope and do more than endure. Live boldly in God's light, because it's shining all over. We pray this in Jesus' name.